Hello and welcome to episode 91 of the Disney Park Princess podcast. I'm your co-host, Sara.
I'm Heather.
I'm Sharla.
I'm so happy the pointing is back. I can't even tell you.
The way I have my screen set up, Sharla is like all the way in the corner of the furthest screen. So I had to, like, out of the corner of my eye, I see her gesticulating. I'm like, what's happening?
I love it. It's fantastic. All right. Well, so first of all, welcome back, Sharla.
Thank you. I needed a break, but things are fine. I don't know. We'll talk about it later. Things are fine.
Good. Everything's
Everything's
fine is the bottom line. Yes. Yeah. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're very glad you're back.
Thank you.
Heather and I need our referee. So
You caved in on the castle cake, though. You didn't get angry about it.
No, I didn't. There was no ranting. It was just the two of us. Zero ranting, I feel.
Well, I'm going to, I'm going to take my, give my opinion now. And that is the castle cake. I loved it, but it didn't belong on my castle, if that makes sense. Like, that's kind of what you guys said, but I loved the idea of it. I thought it was so funny and hilarious, but it bothers me if they really mess with the castle too much.
I mean, it was just a year. It wasn't forever.
Oh my God, it was like 2 years. Who are you kidding?
Yeah,
We had this whole argument on another podcast.
Yeah. Well, like that when they did this,
forever.
I didn't even like it when they did Cinderellabration and they had that huge mirror on it.
We were talking about that too.
Oh, I liked that.
I was fine
I
with
did.
that. Yeah.
I did it. But anyway, that's but I've liked a lot of the other changes that they've done. And it was a whimsical 25th birthday thing, so whatever.
Well, hold your horses, people, because the 50th is coming next year. So
Yeah, but with this change that they just did, I don't know if they're gonna.
can we talk about my favorite part of the new castle? Because we didn't know this last week, but can we talk about my favorite part of the new castle paint job?
Sure.
It's paint by numbers. Have you seen the pictures?
No, but
There are pictures of Cinderella Castle because it's not quite done yet. And I love all of the people that have posted this, but it's literally on each little at the bottom in the gray. It's paint by numbers. There's literally numbers painted on like each.
Which makes sense because they have X
amazing.
amount of grays, and so they need to know what gray goes where according to the designer. So why not?
I love it. I think it's fantastic, but also it's just so amusing to me. Like, 'cause, lots of people are doing paint by numbers right now, sort of like, we're all kind of staying home and looking for things to do. And I see paint by numbers all over my Facebook feed. And it just tickled me to see the Cinderella Castle was basically the world's largest paint by number project.
Hey, more power to them. I mean, if that's the way you got to do it, then that's fantastic.
I mean, listen, the people who design it, right, and come up with the color scheme and the schematics and all of that are out here in California. They're not the ones out there on a scaffolding actually doing the work. They're just the ones that come up with the concept. So however we can make it so that the actual workers know what it needs to look like, go for it.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. Also, I now have a new possible, future career as painting. Like, I mean, even I can do that. Even I could follow paint by numbers. So, add it to my list of possible Disney future careers. Yeah.
I love it.
So
when I'm dictator, I will hire you for that.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to want a better job than that if you're dictator.
Oh, no, I'll pay you a lot of money for it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So we should probably do a little bit just sort of Disney news this week now that the parks are reopened. All 4 of them will be reopened by the time that you are hearing this. And sort of simultaneously as Walt Disney World is reopening, Hong Kong Disneyland is closing again. So do not ask us whether we think that is happening in Walt Disney World. We don't know.
I didn't think it was going to happen in Walt Disney World to begin with. So
I didn't think they'd be opening on July 15th. So
the world doesn't know. But what we can say is everybody stay home and wear your masks, and then Walt Disney World can stay open.
That's right. That's right. The other thing I want to make sure that we're clear about is Walt Disney World specifically has gotten very strict about what their definition of a mask is.
Yeah.
They do not allow the gaiters, which are essentially sort of like turtlenecks that you pull up over your face. And they are not allowing bandanas. So it does have to be a, sort of what I'm calling a typical face mask that covers your nose, that secures under your chin, and has loops that go behind your ear. So anything other than that, is not accepted. Even a face shield. If you're wearing a face shield, you still need to have a mask underneath it. And that was something that was unclear, I think, for the first couple of days. And so Disney has as each day has gone on, they've added more and more and more clarification about what is and what is not acceptable face covering. So.
Right. And what I have heard, now this is Universal, not Disney, but it's going to follow along, is that if you are one of the people who cannot wear a mask at Universal and you have one of those bracelets that say specifically, I need this accommodation, when you go on the actual attractions, you still have to wear a mask. So that, again, that's Universal, not Disney, but I would expect the same type of thing. Disney has said, if you can't wear a mask, please stay home.
Yeah.
But
in no uncertain terms.
Right. So that's kind of, so they have made some accommodations. I would not count on that at all. I would say if you can't wear a mask, don't go right now.
We're also being told that PhotoPass photographers won't take your picture unless you're wearing your mask. You will not be given your ride photo in My Disney Experience unless you are wearing a mask. These are anecdotal, but
that's interesting because out at Shanghai, like you have to wear a mask, but then when they go to take your picture, you're allowed to take your mask off for the picture, put it back on, and then go, get your band or your card scanned for the mask. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Again, anecdotal. So don't know.
Yeah, we haven't been there, guys. So we don't have firsthand accounts for any of us. Downtown Disney did open at Disneyland last week. I did not go because it's been 103 degrees here, and I don't like the heat in the best situations. I certainly don't want to go and wear a mask for 5 hours in the heat. So I didn't go. I stayed home.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Understandable. So that's pretty much what we know. Unfortunately, we are not, fortunately or unfortunately, I'll be honest, as much as I love Disney, I wouldn't want to be there right now. It's really hot right now. Like Heather said, I don't do heat under the best of circumstances. I'm not a person who would enjoy, being there in the heat at all, being there in the heat wearing a mask. That doesn't sound like a good time for me. Plus, all of us are, I believe, in states. Charlotte, Georgia doesn't have a quarantine, right? But Heather and I think, are both in states that require us to quarantine if we were to go to Florida and then come home. And Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey are not playing anymore. They implemented fines and paperwork and tracking, and they're not messing around. So I will not be at Walt Disney World anytime in the near future, from the sounds of it, unfortunately.
But you probably wouldn't be anyway because it's July and August in Orlando.
Darn hot. Yes.
Yeah.
But there are many people, many of our fellow bloggers, many of our fellow, All Ears is there and Disney Food Blog is there. And there are tons of people there. So if you want to know what's going on, it's all over social media. You can't miss it.
Yeah.
I will say it looks absolutely delightful with no lines and no people. That is my dream Disney experience. Under happy circumstances. I wish they would keep it at that level of capacity.
Yeah, and even for us personally, at least one of our listeners has posted on our Facebook page about going there, or in our group. I'm sorry, in our group. So if you want to read about a firsthand experience, please go read that.
Yes.
And so it's really helpful and good to know. I agree. It looks delightful as far as the crowds, but
yeah. And special thanks to Nikki and Deanne. Those are the two listeners that sent photos and sent firsthand reports. And so that's great. That's super, super, super helpful. So thank you, ladies, for doing that for us.
For real.
And especially for getting photos of the castle for us.
Yeah. And they live there. So it's an easy trip for them as far as a day thing. It's not like they are like us would have to go on a long stay and try and navigate the flights and everything like that. So we really appreciate that.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
All right. So that's enough. We're not going to get into, the endless speculation about Disney World and what's going on there and all of that. There's plenty of sources for you to do that. We are basically trying to amuse ourselves and distract ourselves and help ourselves through what can only be described as withdrawal at this point. I don't know why, but it hit me hard today. Maybe it's envy from watching all the social media feeds of people that are at Disney. But it hit me hard today. And for whatever reason, I'm suffering cruise withdrawal, I think, more than anything. And I don't know why that is exactly, other than I was scheduled to be on a cruise in early August. That's obviously not happening. So,
well, that's probably it. Like, you haven't had a vacation, and then your next vacation was supposed to be coming up, and now that's gone. And I'm right there with you. I've had 4 trips canceled this year. Who knows if my last 2 are even going to happen? But like, I'm like, I need to go. I need to go a place. I have to go. Yeah.
That's why when
oh, go ahead.
That's why when a few weeks ago we just drove 3 hours away, it was different walls. We didn't do anything. We didn't leave the house. We didn't, but it was different walls to look at, and it was fantastic.
Different walls. I like that. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So coming up next, we are going to be talking about Disney Cruise Line. We're basically going to be designing our dream, pun intended, cruise, which is our favorite ship, which is our favorite itinerary, which is our favorite stateroom, dining room, you name it, we're going there. So stay tuned, and Disney Cruise Line Dreaming is coming up next. Okay, let's get started. All 4 of us have been on all 4 ships, right?
Yes.
No,
I haven't been on the Wonder.
What?
Oh, that's my favorite. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. That's my favorite one.
Yeah. Well, all right, and that was episode 91. Thanks for joining. I did not know you had not been on the Wonder yet, which is so funny because it's the one on the West Coast most often.
Yeah, but it's it's up in Alaska 90% of the time, and then it only has a handful of before and after the Alaska season cruises, and even that's down in San Diego, so it's still a 3-hour drive for me. So it's not really local.
Right, exactly. So still more local than Port Canaveral, but
yes,
not close exactly. Yeah. All right. So who wants? Well, Sharla, you already started, so that's it. You volunteered yourself. Now you're up first. All right, you go first.
Okay. Well, first of all, I don't know why the Wonder is my favorite. I mean, I love it because it's smaller. It's also the first one I went on. Actually, the first 2 that I went on, several years apart, but that might be why. But I've been on the Wonder
first.
Yeah, I've been on the Wonder 3 or 4 times, and it's just so nice. It has not been amplified in any way. Like the Magic has the Aqua Dunk and some other things. The Wonder, I mean, it has certainly been updated. Don't get me wrong, it has, but it doesn't have like the the fancy water slide or the aqueduct.
It hasn't been reimagined.
Yeah, not completely. No. I mean, they've definitely done some things to it with the restaurants. They've changed to the Tiana's restaurant instead of that was on the Dream. I'll think of which one that they did. They got rid of Parrot Cay is what they got rid of on the Wonder.
Well, didn't they? Oh, no, I guess that was the Dream. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't know. Now I got to remember. I think it is Tiana's place. It's like Rapunzel.
Well,
I was about to
they
say,
had Tiana's place. They
sure
had it in New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right.
It replaced. Didn't it replace Enchanted Garden?
No, which was Parrot Cay on the Magic, and it was Enchanted Garden on the Wonder. I don't know anything. Look at us being.
No, Parrot Cay is what became Animators Palette.
Animators
is it?
Palette was
Am I not remembering right?
Animators Palette was always there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Yes. No, you're right. Yeah.
I know Parrot Cay became Carioca's, but then I guess it was on the Wonder that immediately they were like, okay, no, then we're going to do Tiana's.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So I was right in the first place. Okay. It is Tiana.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's kind of like Rapunzel's. I know you've been on the Magic, Sarah, with me, and we see the Rapunzel's place. It's like that, except it's Tiana. So Tiana, they do a little show. Tiana and Naveen walk around, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So very similar in terms of that. And then they have the Frozen stage show, which is absolutely incredible on the Wonder. So I think that's why it's my favorite ship. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, so what type of, do you guys want to just do category by category, or do you want to do your dream cruise person at a time?
Well, let's all do our favorite ships, and then we can all do our dream cruise.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, Heather, how about you? What's your favorite ship?
My favorite ship is the Magic, because it was the first ship I went on, and I got to do a really super long cruise on the Magic, and I just fell in love with it. Like I remember sitting in one of the bars on embarkation day, like we were about to start sailing, and then all of a sudden you hear the the little what's
When
the
you
word?
wish upon a star, the whistle.
Not the whistle, but the intercom. That's where I'm sorry. Words have been very hard for me the last 4 days. I'm not kidding. This has been happening to me repeatedly the last 4 days. They just escape me. I think it's the heat. But
it's the heat, I'm sure.
when it came on and I was like, what is that? Oh my gosh. Like, and it was such a magical experience. And so I love the Magic for that, for the memories. I love it for the size. Even though it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that the bigger ships do, I just like it that you can kind of be more low key. You don't feel like you have to go do this activity or on this or that because I need to fit this in. And don't get me wrong, I love the Dream and the Fantasy and all of their activities, but it's something about the Magic where you can just kind of sit and enjoy being on the ocean that I really love about it. And I love the piano bar too, where you can sit by the giant windows and in these comfy little lounge chairs. And even whether or not you have a cocktail, even if it's in the middle of the day, it's just always so peaceful in there. And I love that.
I think we recorded a podcast from there.
We did.
We did. Yeah. Awesome. I had a very hard time with and it was my suggestion for a show, so I have no excuse. I was very torn between the Magic and the Fantasy, sort of like the bookend ships, if you will.
Yeah.
And at the end, I also came down on the Magic, but I gotta say it's a tight race because I love the Fantasy, because I love just all of the technology, and the Rainforest Room I think is so much better on the Dream and the Fantasy than it is on the Magic and the Wonder. But at the end of the day, I agree. It's about the size of the ship. I like the smaller ship experience. I agree. It feels more relaxed. I love Rapunzel's. I think it's so much fun. I love the smaller theater. I just think it's a more intimate ship experience, and I really like that. And on Castaway Cay, I would much rather be there with 2,500 people on the Magic than 4,500 people on the Fantasy.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
There's a marked difference. Now, the last time I was on the Dream, though, which was in the middle of March,
Yep.
right, we came home and quarantined. But there were very few people on the Dream, so it was on Castaway Cay, but it felt like you were on the smaller ships. It was really nice.
But
Yeah,
I think that was because a lot of people canceled because
they did. They did. That was why.
Booming pandemic. So, yeah.
And I would not wish that again or anything like that. But it was really nice to be there with not as many people. Like the last few times we've been on the Magic, we haven't been to Castaway Cay because we've been New England or Bermuda or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Staterooms. Let's talk staterooms, because I would pay almost any amount of money right now to be in a stateroom and not in my house.
So would you take an inside stateroom?
At this point, if there was nobody else in it, sure. Do they have room service? I'm in.
Yeah.
All right. So now, obviously, of course, if we could, we would choose suites. But in a more realistic, let's leave the suites out of it, because obviously we would always choose suites.
I have never stayed in a suite on Disney Cruise Line.
I haven't either. So
I can't justify spending that kind of money.
Because each ship only has two. Like we've said this before, Disney Cruise Line is lacking severely in the suites department. They only have two on each ship. They're both exactly the same, and they're on the larger side, which is nice, but at the same time, they still don't sleep that many people. And then sometimes you don't want that huge of a suite. You just want like a sitting area and a separate bedroom. So they really need to up their game. And maybe on the new ships, this is something they're doing. Again, we don't know anything about the new ships, but we need suites, Disney Cruise Line.
Yeah,
please.
Even a junior suite, it would be nice. I mean, I've been dealing with Royal Caribbean a lot, and they've got the junior suite, the grand suite, the owner suite. They've got every kind of suite.
Yeah. The suite's coming out the wazoo.
I mean, almost every other cruise line does. Norwegian, Celebrity, Virgin. They all have many levels of suites.
Yep.
So let's take that off the table.
Yep.
Obviously, if I'm going to just pick, I would do a veranda stateroom. Veranda simply means balcony, and I would do that anytime. And in fact, every time I have sailed on Disney Cruise Line, I've had a veranda. I've seen the ocean view staterooms. I've seen some inside staterooms, and I will pay the extra money personally for a veranda every time.
Yep.
Yeah.
How about you, Heather?
Same. Probably a family veranda just because I like my space. And it's the same stateroom, just a little bit bigger. And they all tend to be midship too, which I like. Although one time, gosh, I don't even remember the category. I know I think I was a balcony guarantee, and I was doing this cruise for work and got put into this stateroom on deck 7. I was one of those staterooms that are all the way aft. They are accessible staterooms, so it's not something that you should really just be booking, but because it was a guarantee, I kind of just got shoved into it, a week before the cruise. And I had the biggest balcony I have ever had on a cruise ship anywhere.
Those balconies are amazing.
So wide, it wrapped around the back of the ship. I don't think, anytime I wasn't working, I was on that balcony. That's all I did the entire cruise. It was fantastic. The only negative to that balcony is that it's not the plexiglass where you can see. So if you're sitting on the lounge chair, you can't really see the ocean. So
yeah.
Well, that's so Sara and I had that type of room. Not exactly the same because it wasn't huge, but when we were on the Magic last time and we booked the guarantee, we thought we were going to get the Navigator's veranda, but it ended up the white wall veranda, and we could not sit down and see the ocean.
No.
Yeah.
So again, that's what you get for booking a guarantee, and it's a risk you take. But I have no problem with having that for the price we paid and everything like that.
Right. For what we paid, no arguments whatsoever.
No. But if we're going to sit here and talk about our dream cruise and where we're I'm going to have a family balcony where I can sit in my little lounge chair or my little chair and look out at the waves and not have anybody bother me.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. I love, I also have to have a veranda. I have stayed inside. I have stayed ocean view. I've stayed in all sort of 3 quote unquote major categories. I've also stayed in a family stateroom. For me, I have to have the plexiglass. I really, again, for what we paid, I was fine with the white wall veranda, but under almost no other circumstances would I choose that. The veranda is just, for me, it's really important. I have a thing about being able to get fresh air quickly, so I love it. I actually really like the deck 5 location, on the Magic. Or anywhere, actually. The best stateroom I've ever had was it's on the Dream or the Fantasy, and it's deck 5 and it's midship, and I'm not going to tell you exactly which one because that was a VIP tip for our Patreon supporters one time. So, and if I give a secret to them, then I'm not giving it to the whole world. I will just say it was midship on deck 5 and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So I will book that stateroom every single time it is available. So.
Yeah, I like deck 5 now that my daughter is kids club age. But we were on deck 6 last time, and we just she had to know how to get to and from the kids club. We've talked about that before.
Yep.
And so, but I would be fine with deck 5, 6, or 7 somewhere in that area.
I always pick deck 6 on the Magic or the Wonder if I was going on that, and then deck 7 on the Dream and Fantasy because I like to be equidistant from everything. So I have an equal walk up to the pool and an equal walk down to the restaurants and the clubs and all of that.
Yep.
Because I don't take elevators. I hate taking the elevators because I am impatient and I don't like to wait for them. So I'm always just walking everywhere. And so 6 or 7, that's, the least amount of walking in each direction.
The elevators that I like, though, I will take those midship elevators, and they have the paintings, and you can see the glass and the paintings. That's fun.
Yeah,
but
that's a fun ride just to do, though. But if you're actually trying to get somewhere, it's not ideal.
I'm not taking the elevators because I don't like them or because I want exercise. I'm just impatient and I just need to go to a place. So I'm just gonna walk and get there.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to say, I actually really did like our stateroom in the aft of the ship because it was just so easy to go up and get one last, drink at night or a little snack. And, you're just, 2 quick little flights of stairs away from, the food and the pool and the drink and all that stuff. That was actually really super convenient. I personally do think there is a little bit more noise in the aft of the ship, but that's just me. And that could have just been that we were on a very bumpy cruise. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go to our favorite, or what we would pick if we were just doing an itinerary. Is that what we want to do? Because this could open up a whole can of worms. Because I'm going to pick a world cruise or something.
Right. No, it has to be an existing.
Okay. An existing DCL itinerary.
Yes.
Okay. I would go, this is hard. I think I would like to do one of their European cruises.
Mm-hmm.
I've never cruised in Europe with Disney Cruise Line. I would really like to do that. But I want to add the ABD component to it so that I get the customized excursions at each location that we are. So it's not that I'm just with a whole group of random people each time. We get the same group and we get to, I guess you get to pick a little bit, but I want to be immersed in all that concierge level activity that Adventures by Disney gets. Yeah. So I'm going to pick the European cruise with Adventures by Disney.
Northern Europe or the Med?
I've never been to, I would pick the Med. Okay. I've never been to Northern Europe, and I'm sure it's fantastic, but I love the Med. There's a lot that I did not get to do when I was there. So that's why I would like to do that. I would like to go to Rome, not on a Sunday, so I can go to the Sistine Chapel. That's like a life goal. But I was in Rome before it was a Sunday, and Sistine Chapel's closed.
That's like, we should focus on, let's just land there for a second, because that's actually a really important tip.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Heather.
Well, I will touch on this when it's my turn, but I've done the Disney Cruise Line Mediterranean cruise, and it was the best cruise I've ever taken. It was phenomenal. But then having gone back to Europe many, many times since that cruise, because that was probably about 10 or 11 years ago now, as wonderful as it is, it really only gives you a taste of these wonderful cities and countries that you're going to. So like Sharla said, she was in Rome on a Sunday. Well, you don't get to pick that because you're on a cruise and there's a schedule. So when you're considering one of these cruises, you should 100% do it because it's amazing. And I've gotten to see so many wonderful places on it that I probably would never go and make a vacation of, but you're really only getting a taste. I wouldn't say I'm going to do the Disney Cruise Line Mediterranean cruise and check Rome off the list, because I've been to Rome twice since then, and I still haven't seen everything that I saw on that cruise. So it's really just kind of like dipping your toes into a location, deciding whether or not you like it enough to go and make a land vacation out of it sometime in the future.
Yeah, sure. That's a legitimate thing, but if I'm going to cruise, that's what I'm going to do. But yes, we were limited because we got to do some really cool things in Rome that I probably would not have done otherwise. But anyway, just look at the itinerary if you're going to do it and see if you're going to be there on a Sunday. And if you are, a lot of cruises stop and start in Rome. So maybe add a couple of days on too. I would probably do that next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just need the money to pay for that Line European cruise, because that was a lot of money. Those are, yeah. So
yeah.
When I did that cruise, I originally had a 4-night on the Dream to the Bahamas scheduled, and they released a bunch of guarantee rates on an 11-night Mediterranean cruise on the Magic, because this was 10 or 11 years ago. They had gone to the Mediterranean, had gone away for a couple years, and then finally brought the ship back to the Mediterranean, and I guess nobody had booked it. Like, I wish that was the case today, but my 11-night cruise in a guarantee stateroom wound up only being $200 more expensive than a 4-night Bahamas on the Dream.
Wow,
and I was like,
crazy.
Well, so I was not a travel agent at the time, but I called my travel agent. I was like, can you switch my cruise, please? Thank you. Like, it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer. Of course, obviously, I had to pay more expensive airfare than just from New Jersey to Florida. But come on. Wow, 11 nights versus 4. That's just, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Goes without saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Heather, which one would you choose? Which itinerary?
This is super hard for me because, like I said, the Mediterranean was by far the best cruise I have ever been on in my life. So it would be a European cruise. I wouldn't do a Mediterranean cruise again. One, because I've now been to a lot of those destinations multiple times over the last X amount of years, and have gotten to see them more in depth. I also don't love the Mediterranean itineraries that Disney does because they took a lot of the cool stuff off that was on mine. Like I got to go to Tunisia, which was like I got to see Carthage, guys. Like that's mind blowing. And you know, shop at all those markets. I got to go to Malta, Corsica, and they took a lot of those things off. So now it's really just more of your like standard. We're going to go to Italy and the south of France and Spain, which is there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not as appealing to me. So I was thinking maybe I would want to do the other side of the Mediterranean where it starts in Venice and you do Turkey and you do Greece. I know Disney doesn't have them right now, but you know, eventually. But I think I would rather spend more time in Greece as opposed to just a day here and a day there. Yeah. So I think I'm going to go with a northern European sailing, but then do I want to do the Norway sailing or do I want to do Northern Europe? And I think I would like to do one of the Northern Europe ones because I would love to see St. Petersburg without having to go through the hassle of a visa because I had to do a visa for China and that's not an easy process. Yeah. So I think I would do Northern Europe specifically for not having to get a visa in Russia, and then knowing that I could add on some days in Copenhagen or even just like go back to, you know, to Amsterdam or something along the lines down the road.
Yeah. I want to do the Med and the European cruises so badly, but honestly, I don't know if I would choose Disney for it. Yeah. You know, I feel like I would choose Celebrity.
Oh, wait, I'm lying now, guys. I have a new favorite cruise line. I'd choose Virgin. You're welcome.
Oh, okay. You haven't even sailed on them yet, so you don't know that for sure.
When I did
breaking news, I have a voyage scheduled on Virgin Voyages for Thanksgiving. I don't know whether or not it will get to go, but I'm so excited for it.
When I did sail in Europe, I did with Azamara, which is if you've never heard of Azamara, they are the more luxury version of Royal Caribbean and Celebrity. Very, very tiny ship. It was more like a yacht than a cruise ship, but it was still big enough. Yeah. It was fantastic. And I would go with them or Celebrity. Yeah, hands down.
Yeah. So given that, I had to think about like, all right, well, if I'm not going to do Disney for that, what would I do Disney for? And for me, one of my favorite places on earth is Castaway Cay. So it would have to be a cruise that included Castaway Cay. And if I'm going to do that, well, then I might as well be on the ship for as long as possible. So I would do the 9-night Southern Caribbean cruise that they offer typically in July, because it's a nice long time on the ship. It includes some great islands that I haven't seen yet, and Castaway Cay, which
that's a great choice.
Got to do it. So.
Southern Caribbean is the best of the Caribbean, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because the further south you get, the more traditionally Caribbean it is.
Smaller the islands, the less developed.
And typically, Southern Caribbean cruises are longer cruises, unless you go from Puerto Rico. But, you know, they'll go from Miami and they will go Southern Caribbean because it takes longer to get there, even from Miami. But they are so beautiful. The water is, like, if you think the water is beautiful at Castaway Cay, wait till you get to the Southern Caribbean. You know, it's just gorgeous. So
So that would be my choice. All right. So we've done stateroom, we've done ship, we've done itinerary. What about dining? Which is your favorite of the? I'm going to exclude Palo for a second because if you ask us what our favorite restaurant on Disney Cruise Line is, it's always going to be Palo. That's a given. Of the main rotational dining rooms on all 4 of the ships, which is your personal favorite?
Animators Palette on the Magic or the Wonder, not on the Dream or Fantasy. It has to be specific to those. The menu is pretty much the same on all 4. The truffle pasta is the black truffle pasta. That's my favorite. But the show is vastly different on the Dream class and the Magic class. And I would absolutely do the smaller ships because the other one, it feels too much like Turtle Talk with Crush, which is fine, but it's not the same. So go with the 2 smaller ships, Animators Palette. That's my favorite.
Yep.
Gosh, I don't know. It's definitely not Carioca's or whatever. I never liked that restaurant. What is the restaurant on the Dream? Is it Royal Palace? Royal Palace, right?
Yep.
That's my favorite. There's just, and I like it when you can hit it on a formal night. I was lucky enough, I did a couple of New Year's Eve cruises, and I requested the rotation that was going to be in there on New Year's Eve because I knew that was a formal night. So everybody, like, it was just like this festive ball type atmosphere. And I think the restaurant is so pretty on the Dream and the Fantasy, and it's just something about getting dressed for dinner. And I know a lot of people don't like that, but I do. I enjoy, you know, doing my hair up, doing my makeup, putting on a fancy dress, and like feeling like I'm back 200 years where people dressed for dinner, and it's a nice experience. I love it. And they always have some form of oysters on the menu that I love.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I'm with Sharla. Animators Palette on the Magic or the Wonder. Yeah, the original, the OG Animators Palette is my favorite. the black and white. I remember getting on. I was on the inaugural for both the Dream and the Fantasy, and I just remember walking in and being like, "What is this? What is this pale wood mess? Like, nothing. Like, yeah." So definitely the Magic and the Wonder. I just love the atmosphere in the show and the food, and it's my favorite.
I love the popcorn soup at Animators Palace.
I love the popcorn soup though,
but. Like you guys, I don't think Animators Palette on the Dream and Fantasy is all that pretty. Like, I love the utensils that look like there's a few little details that are really cute. And I love when they take your placemats and you've drawn this character and they animate that to life. That to me is amazing. But the other hour and a half that you're spending in the restaurant is just like,
Oh yeah, and you only get the animated placemats if you're in that restaurant the second time. Yeah. So it's on a longer cruise. I think we had it on the 5-night cruise. Mm-hmm. I think we happened to be in that rotation, but so not everybody gets it. So it's a different thing, but it's really cute.
Yeah, it's super cute.
You do get that on all 4 ships. So
yeah,
at least lessons checked.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Now I'm gonna make you choose. You're gonna be mad, and you're gonna throw a fit, and I know. Paulo.
Don't tell me.
Both. I can't. I cannot. It is simply impossible.
You have to choose. For the purposes of this podcast, you have to choose.
Okay. Then it's my podcast. I can do whatever I want. So I'm going to say brunch with souffle. You got to bring me a souffle, but I can do it at brunch time.
I mean, if you can convince somebody, Apollo, to do that for you, more power to you.
Challenge accepted.
All right. That's it. It's on. It's happening.
Yeah, challenge accepted. I would definitely choose brunch for the chicken parm. That's I think the best meal on Disney Cruise Line.
We've totally I love that she had never even done brunch until her last cruise, and now we've totally converted her.
It didn't even take convincing. I just had to go, and I was like, okay, that's just what I want.
Yeah.
But they didn't have souffle, so that's the downfall of brunch. They had some amazing desserts. Don't get me wrong. Okay, challenge, but my next cruise will include Paulo brunch, and it will include a souffle.
Okay, but then we need a video of them placing this souffle in front of you at brunch.
Yeah. Pics or it didn't happen.
Well, you won't get the pics or the video right away because I'm not wasting very valuable DCL internet.
Nobody's asking for that. Nobody's asking for that. Yeah. So. All right, Heather, you got to choose.
Both, but I guess I would choose dinner because I don't really like brunch anyway. I always schedule it around lunchtime.
I was about to say, this should not be difficult for you since you don't like brunch.
Well, let me rephrase this. I think I've only ever eaten breakfast food during the brunch once, and that was the one and only time in my life that I got seasick and I couldn't stomach anything other than 2 bites of pancakes. But then don't worry, because my waitress came to my rescue and she got me medication that healed me. But even when I go to brunch at Palo, I schedule it at lunchtime and only eat the lunch foods.
That's totally fine.
That's
so
legit.
I would pick dinner just because they'll bring me like 7 different pastas. That my stomach is Italian, and anytime I could eat a table full of pasta, I'm a happy girl. So I would do that.
Okay.
All right.
I'm choosing brunch. Brunch, easy. That's not even a question. It would be brunch, just for just the seafood alone. But also, I think the menu at brunch actually tends to be a little more friendly towards my allergies. So
absolutely,
I would do brunch. Yeah. All right.
Do you guys like crab legs? Because apparently,
yes.
I have a whole case of king crab legs showing up at my house that I have to be on the lookout for because it's 100 degrees outside, so I have to rescue them.
Who is sending you king crab legs? Do you have any idea how expensive those things are?
I don't know. I just know I'm getting a case of crab legs to the house today. I think it's Justin's boss. I don't eat crab
Can
legs.
I get there?
I was about to say, if I leave now, is it possible to get on a flight to Los Angeles and be there in time for crab cakes? Because crab is my favorite thing, like, on the planet. So
Yeah,
you're
it's
all
pretty
welcome
much-
because only Justin's eating them. So head on
Oh
over.
my gosh, it's my favorite. Crab legs are pretty much my most favorite thing to eat.
Yep, favorite food. Yeah, pretty much my
Yeah.
favorite food. Yeah.
And I'm afraid to cook them because I don't know how. So
Yeah, I don't know how
Just
either.
steam
So
them.
please send me tips, listeners.
Yeah, you just steam them. Steam them, a little bit of butter, a little squeeze of lemon.
Oh, that I could do. Well, no,
It's
the butter and lemon, yeah, but I don't know. I've never done it. And I would be the only one in my house that eats them too, but
Oh, what's wrong
I
with
could
the
eat.
people you live with? Crab is so, because it's even, and I'm a New Englander, so I mean, we do lobster all the time. So I might be a little biased against lobster. I mean, I love lobster, but crab is just, it's infinitely easier to get out of the shell, crab legs in particular.
yeah.
It's infinitely sweeter. The meat is,
Love them.
you know,
Okay,
the
we gotta
texture's
stop. I
different.
love it so much.
I know.
That's-
I know, but they're so expensive. Ugh, yeah,
Yeah.
they're like $27 a pound here or something like that,
Yeah.
which is insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, we'll enjoy those, Heather, and we hate you, but that's fine.
I'm not eating them. You can hate Justin. It's just my job to rescue them from the heat of the front porch.
All right. So, anything else we want to cover? We're running a little long here. It's 40 minutes, so
Mhm.
I think we've covered.
I mean, we really have nothing better to do than talk about cruising. Really. So. I do want to say something else. That if I really had to choose, and you won't let me pick a world cruise because it's not on their itinerary, I'm going to anyway. And I'm going to say I would go to Europe, then I would sail back to Port Canaveral, then I would sail through the Panama Canal, then I would sail to Hawaii, and then I would live at Aulani for the rest of my life. That's my.
I could go for Aulani right about now. That would be great.
Yeah.
I'd go for, just about anything right about now.
My neighbors have a condo on Kauai, and I'm like very close to being like, can I go like take care of your condo and quarantine there? And just like, I don't care. I don't leave the house anyway, but can I just like live in your house where I can see the ocean from it? That would be great.
Like Sharla said, different walls. Just
Exactly.
Just different walls to stare at.
I like dust things. It's great.
So coming up next week, we are going to do a listener Q&A. We've got, I think, 4 or 5 questions right now, but we can always use more. So you can email us at info@disneyparkprincess.com. Please just mention in the subject line listener Q&A so that we know to look for it and know that it is specifically for a podcast and not just a question that you're asking us privately. So again, that's info@disneyparkprincess.com. We have a new blog post that's basically a blog version of our new YouTube video on how to book your park pass reservations for Walt Disney World. Please make sure to join our Facebook group. We're having so much fun in there. And again, we have some of our listeners who have submitted firsthand information on what it's like to be in the parks right now and their experiences, some photos and things, which has been really cool. Instagram, all the social media, all that good stuff. Make sure that you're liking us and following us. If you're enjoying this podcast, please do us a favor and give us a rating or a review on iTunes. Share it with a friend. Tell people about it. Help us spread the word. That does us so much good. I can't even begin to tell you. And just, like, subscribe, hit the heart on Instagram, like whatever. Just let us know that you're out there, that you're listening, that you're paying attention, that you're enjoying it. And that helps us know what to keep doing, what to stop doing, and just helps us develop this Disney Park Princess platform, if you will. So next week, listener Q&A. Coming up next on the Patreon Extra.
Things.
Good
A
question.
topic.
I don't know. Mystery topic to be determined in the 2 seconds between ending this recording and starting the next one. So we will talk to you next week. And again, that's a listener Q&A. Those only work if you guys send in your questions. So info@disneyparkprincess.com. Thank you so much. And we will talk to you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.